Hello there. Thank you for tuning into my channel today. If you're here and you're still listening, that must mean you're a fan of the strange, paranormal, or the bizarre, the supernatural.
Woo!
Well, friends, family, boys, girls, fans, and everyone else tuning in today, thank you for watching Limp-Cryptid. We are going to cover a very serious topic, well, serious to me anyway, that has been floating around lately. UFOs. Well, we now know them as UAPs. That's right, UAPs. I feel like our government is trying to tell you something without telling you something. UAPs. Unknown aerial phenomena. That's what we've been told. That's what I've been told. Is that what you've been told?
Yes?
Yes.
Because I feel like that's what we have all heard and that's what we've been led to believe.
Oh.
Well, everyone, it is very, very possible we have all been misled on this one.
What's this?
And that's okay. Personally, I feel like I've been misled too. I really truly believe UAP stands for Unknown Aircraft Programs. But without getting too far ahead of myself now, on this episode, I want to address that very question. What is it? Where did it come from? Why so many now? Have they been here long? We're going to also address a very touchy topic with the UFO phenomena, is why have cryptids been reported on this as well? That's right. In some cases, cryptids have been reported alongside UFO sightings. I'll be addressing this all with you, so pull up a chair, turn up the volume. It's your host Axel, getting ready to grind some gears, only on Limp-Cryptid. Hey Axel, I guess first off, I would like to actually thank you for taking me seriously. Trust me, I know exactly how hard this all is to believe. What I've experienced has happened to me more and more now. Yes, meaning more than once, in fact, more than several times. But even though it has, it still is different every single time. Look, it sounds crazy. I know. It still happens to me. The most recent time, I was sitting in my room, just watching TV, trying to sleep. You know, the raunchy cartoons. Well, it's pushing 11 p.m., and my TV is still set up in front of a window. Basically, it's the size of the wall. Catching a flicker in the window was really easy. I was actually able to get a glance due to the window being so big, and the TV basically where it was. Sorry about the side note, but it's just really what's important here. Not my TV, the flicker. Now, I'm at the window. I'm hearing an owl. Well, not so weird. Really, it's freaking strange. As this is the only wildlife I hear. Keep in mind the swamp backing up to my yard, the pond that I have basically the size of a lake in the yard. I always hear bugs. Not this night, because it was just that loud owl. That's why it's freaking strange. To make this owl even more bizarre, the hoot it made now, trying to imagine an owl hoot, hoo, 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 right? Well, not this owl, my good sir. No, no, no. Now imagine with a hoo, hoo, howl. Well, it's getting too dark to try to attempt to see whatever it is that's making this noise. So I decided to go outside. I slipped on my sandals and went out. I would say I was outside within 45 seconds, maybe less. And I am still hearing it as I'm running to the backyard. Now, this is not really normal for me. In fact, it's not even in the slightest. To be going out chasing down a bizarre noise I hear? Anyway, I'm outside looking up into the trees when I saw that flicker again. Except time through the trees, over the swamp. Again, this wasn't my first go with these crafts in the late night sky, so I'm not about to be running out there for anything like this. Nope, I said verbally. Before I could turn around, what looked like that big star flickering, kind of hanging sort of like a shimmer to it, did this figure eight kind of maneuver around two other what looked like stars, which I think were actual stars in this case. But this is the first time I had been led outside into seeing these lights in the sky. This has all led me into thinking that 100% of the UAPs in the skies are of ET origin, because it's like our government has to copy whatever they see or, capture. And we all are aware of the whole weather balloon lie, aren't we? Yes. We copied ET craft and made our own. In fact, we've perfected it over 80 years. If not of ET origin, then I should say intelligently controlled. Whoa, 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 everyone. Let's put a cork in that experience real quick. Does this explain what this is to all of you? And, if not, let me just break it down a little bit. On one hand, you got that it could be ET. It is possible. We are aware of the weather balloon lie. On the other hand, you got that it could be copied knowledge. Probably one of our governments. Now, personally, I believe CC's experience could be government. Copied technology. Probably the US government's. Now, don't get me wrong. I believe many governments have recovered technology, halfway part due to the US's government needing to spy on its own citizens and other countries. But the other half of the reason is that very well these could be recovered ET craft. And these are quite literally some of the reasons we, the public, will never know the truth. And any public that does know probably gets killed. Or, especially any public that has seen it. It's way cheaper. Cheaper, you might ask? Well, I'm glad you did ask, because if you didn't know, and I encourage you to look it up if you truly don't, the US government has paid witnesses, defectors alike, for both silence and information, all in the name of national security or national defense. Now, don't get me wrong. I truly believe in some national security. Now, due to my life and what I've witnessed, I sort of want to re-enlist. Not necessarily re-enlist, but again, swear my allegiance to the US government.
Stop.
However, y'all, I digress. This is the what about the whole UAP thing. Where, in this case, I believe the where is the what.
Wow.
As in the US government. However, I think the why so many now can be explained with CC's next experience. Well, I guess I'd have to say, to explain one of my other experiences, I'd have to tell you I'm an extremely active person. I walk and ride my bike everywhere now. However, as you may or may not know, there's not much out here in Zimmerman. We live near a landfill. Whoop-de-doo. I want peace and quiet, but the country folk in these parts are unfortunately and at best ignorant racists. But the neighbors I directly have are not these country folk. Anyhow, a landfill is one of the bigger problems in my area. Not only does this attract all kinds of people here disposing of Lord knows what, it also attracts a host of wildlife. Yes, the typical black bears, coyotes, and on occasion the unusual wolf or wolf pack. I say unusual wolf as in there is a huge, now dare I say, dire wolf looking like mofo here. Now, you're not going to believe this, but I was going down to 21st, and coming from my right comes this dire wolf looking like mofo, which was following this very small grouping of deer out from this place. I haven't told anyone but just you yet about what happened next. Well, shortly after I sort of composed myself, that thing looked right at me, but still made the choice to go after the deer. So maybe 1 minute after this, it's in the woods to the back side of the landfill. Now, I begin to hear this humming noise. It's very faint at first, then maybe 15, 20 seconds go by when, and I don't know, an orb like light flies right overhead. I feel as if I had a rock, I could have thrown it, and I am positive I was close enough I could have hit this orb light with said rock. Yet this orb flies directly, and exactly right overhead following that dire wolf thing. Now, not even 10 seconds later, a second orb flies in that exact same path as the first one did. I remember uttering out loud, odd, very odd. But whatever, I still had to get my errands done, so I have to go finish them up. I'm doing that, and I'm not even taking a full hour to get back to the exact spot on 221st where I was seeing everything. Our government had already blocked that portion of the road off. They had multiple squads of men going back into those woods and in the landfill, and in these squads of men were just that, men. Now, I'm talking about the 240 Bravo, and a different man in that same squad was carrying a UAS, or is it the AA-12? That fully automatic shotgun? Well, in the other squad going into the woods were men that can only be explained wearing hazmat or biohazard gear. Now, Axel, remember, I was biking. It was late in the night, and I am more scared, way more scared of our government, i.e. the things they have done. I've heard about assassinations on the public, dark holes and secret bases, that kind of thing. And that's way more frightening than any dire wolf would be to me. So I kept a good distance away, stayed hidden and quiet, and I watched as these guys would have helicopters flying overhead towards that wooded area. However, I watched for a good 10 minutes. I was trying to find out what they were going to tell people that were on that section of road. They had it completely blocked off. But in that 10 minutes, not one car had to be stopped. I guess it was just late enough for that to work out in their advantage. This is my home. I knew other ways to get back there, even though I wanted to know what they might say to someone, even me. I'm more scared of what they would do to me than any of those things in the woods. It has me wondering, though, as there wasn't any mention of this, anywhere. It makes me exponentially more curious, but if anything, the public would have been the weather balloon. No, but seriously, and no offense to the public, are we that stupid? We were told that whole weather balloon at Roswell lie nearly 80 years ago. Some folks still swear to that being the truth. We know Jesse Marcel was lying to us. And we know that the government has never stopped investigating this. We know that the government has only stopped having one continuous name of an investigation program of this. Personally, I think anything that is long lasting has a paper trail. And ergo, easy to follow. Everything government has paperwork and a paper trail, right?
Yes.
You can lie to the public and say these investigations have stopped, when in reality, the only thing that stopped is the label of the investigation.
Oh.
However, I believe in CC's encounter, this might explain why there's cryptids behind some of these UFO sightings. Not only does the government want everything to do with this technology, but, and y'all stay with me, I think this has a lot to do with mind control. Hold the forks. Remember, science was created by the ones trying to tell you that the paranormal and the supernatural is a crazy thing. So if you can control the minds of the public, or at least, the bare least, control the minds of the scientists that are at the forefront of the public, then you can still control the general population. They're continuing to call people crazy or investigators crazy that still study these fields. I'm beginning to digress though the why behind the cryptids. So we know that UAPs or UFOs have been here at least the 80 years since, or at least nearly 80 years since Roswell has happened. But I definitely think Earth started out as sort of like a petri dish. That's right.
What?
A petri dish
What's this?
of science. What happens when sentient life can create sentient life? Like say your species and you're about to go extinct and you want to pass on or continue passing on your DNA. Or imagine you're a dying race and you got the go ahead to create this sentient life planet. So cryptids, they might just be another experiment on planet Earth. If you really think about it, human beings don't really know exactly where and how human beings came to be on this planet. If sentient life was part of an experiment on this planet, I think I'd be okay with it. I mean, it's not changing me. Knowing they exist isn't going to change the fact that I have to get me and my family till tomorrow, till the next day. No, I do not think that people would be panicked. Definitely not. I think they would be thrilled to hear that other life forms exist out there in the universe. They've been here at least the 80 years. They haven't destroyed us yet. Say undeniable proof came for anyone that didn't have their personal experience today. Say that came. That wouldn't change how the planet is viewed. But as I said, the public would definitely be thrilled and definitely not panicked over this. Thrilled of the prospect of what, where we might be able to get, go, make, etc. But knowledge of anything like that cannot and will not ever come from our government. Why? We would have to then inquire upon them what happened to some of the stories of people we've heard.
Uh-oh.
Nikola Tesla.
Ha!
Phil Schneider.
Oh
What
my
about
God.
Kenny Veach? Supposedly taken out by this covert force. Without getting too far away from these encounters, now CC stated in the last year or two that there's been this increasing feeling of acceptance between this UAP phenomena. More like CC has a feeling that there's an increased accepting feeling of what or whoever is behind the UAP is having an acceptance of Earth and its people. Let me explain this a little bit more in this encounter. Lord help me, but I can't remember what day exactly the meteor shower happened. However, I still want to tell you what I saw that day. No, Axel, I think they want to accept humans so that we, as a universe, can grow. Now, I'm not sure, of course, but why make your presence known, at least to me, during a meteor shower? To anyone coming up with video proof of this night, I saw these star-like ships zipping through the sky, like bees flying from flower to flower. This star jumped from star to star. I promise you, my own imagination isn't this good. I have witnessed everything I have told you, Axel. So this star looks as if it's coming to Earth. Well, before it can, this light, again, this star-like light, flips colors to more of a light blue, then proceeds to split into maybe a dozen other lights, and then this box formed of star-like lights and moves from one side of the horizon to the opposite side in about 15 seconds. Then they move back to the original place in the sky before it blacks out completely, vanishing in the night sky. I wasn't seeing or hearing anything else though. So I continued to watch the night sky. Well, until a blacked out triangle flew over my head and my home. Thinking, wait, my entire family is inside sleeping. Running inside, I frantically check on all of them, literally fingers on neck checking pulses. This, Axel, is why you won't ever see me with the camera trying to capture what is out there. My family, good sir. In fact, if E.T. can take anyone, if they can make any of them forget certain things, how on earth do you expect me to feel knowing our government can doing it using copied technology? They have done it a lot. No way. No way. My family has been, still is, and always will be the only thing in my life that matters to me. But this is why I'm getting in touch with you, Axel. Maybe you can do an investigation over here sometime. I fully open my land to you. Axel, let me know. FYI, it's been amazing. Better than therapy in terms of healing mentally. So I want to end on a thank you to you and your channel and your investigations. I honestly can't wait to hear back from you. Please, absolutely yes, and consider me there. So everyone, CC has this growing sense that there's this acceptance between them and us. I don't, however, believe that that is the case. I don't have any offense. I just think that it's more that maybe he's serving some sort of purpose. Who knows? Maybe it's experimentation. Or maybe they're just taking him. I mean, what could they be taking him for? It could range from experimentation. Or it could go all the way to maybe the population of the universe.
What?
Well, hold up. Pump the brakes. Well, everyone, there is this encounter story of a gentleman who does get taken by aliens, and then he is asked that question: would you want to leave Earth and help go populate other planets? There are X amount found every single day, and we are looking for people among many planets to help populate these other planets. you would have basic supplies, etc. The gentleman asked, well, what about me on Earth? They told him, well, you would just become another missing persons case. As incredible as this offer was, eventually, I guess he did decline and they sent him back. Now, regardless of what happened to this gentleman, I'm asking you, the viewers, what do you think you would say in that situation?
Oh my
How would
God.
you respond? And I just want you to ponder that for a little bit and let us all know what you think you would say in the comment section. Well, everyone, I'm going to get ready for my trip off to visit Cece here and see what this is all about. And everyone, let me know if that's something you like, want to see, something you're interested in. And speaking of like, if you could hit my like button, share, subscribe, do anything you could help get this out there, I'd be forever in your debt. Remember, everyone, you're loved. This is Axel, only on Limp-Cryptid.